All right, guys, so we have a story here talking about Nintendo, and apparently there is a new rumor or a new story going around about how Nintendo is apparently bricking the Switch 2 consoles based off whether or not you actually buy pre-owned Switch 1 video games. Now, the story that came out when it first came out was a little bit too generic for me. I wanted to see if I could find any more examples other than just one particular example. But now we have more information as to why the Nintendo Switch 2 is being bricked for when you buy pre-owned Switch 1 games or pre-owned games in general. Apparently, Nintendo has put a bunch of encryption and checks and balances within the Switch 2 to basically combat piracy. It seems like piracy is the number one concern and thing that they want to combat with the Switch 2, and they have done an ungodly amount of modifications to the Nintendo Switch 2 compared to the first one that is going to make people's lives essentially miserable. Innocent people are going to get caught up in this nonsense, and that's exactly what happened here. So Nintendo ended up bricking this person's Switch 2, and they made a comment on the Reddit that it seems like it's been changed. I went over to the Reddit post here on r/Switch, and it says, Switch 2 users, be careful buying used Switch 1 games. You could get banned if a bad actor dumped it. Having said that, Nintendo support is amazing and will help you get back up and running. So apparently they got banned and unbanned after simply downloading patches for a Switch 1 video game that they bought from Facebook Marketplace. Apparently, what they ended up buying was actually a game that had its own code duplicated and utilized for piracy elsewhere, which is the reason why whenever the system detects two iterations of the same file, that it ends up marking one of them for piracy and you will get your Switch 2 banned. But let's go over exactly what happened. Earlier this week, a Nintendo Switch 2 user took to social media to warn folks against buying used Nintendo Switch games. Now, I just want to make it very clear too. Let's be real. Nintendo does not like the used market, okay? Nintendo does not like the third-party market. Nintendo does not like any market other than their own, right? They want a complete monopoly on anything that they sell, anything that they do. They don't even want people to try to make third-party accessories. They do everything they can to fight this market. This is why they added encryption in the USB port that your dock plugs into that basically confirms whether or not it is a real Nintendo dock or not. And if it's not a Nintendo dock, then the chances of it working is slim to none. And even if it does work, chances are there's going to be a firmware update that's going to make sure that it doesn't work. So they're doing everything they can to try to kill the third-party market as legally as they can. And they damn sure don't like the used game market, which is why they're selling their games the way that they are, with the whole barely any information on the cartridge, and then you got to download the actual game when you put the cartridge in. It's a freaking annoying thing, but again, they're doing this for a reason. Nintendo knows exactly what they're doing. They must have spent years formulating plans, coming up with ideas, coming up with strategies to combat all of the supposed piracy that they are dealing with every single day. But the internet will still be undefeated. I hope Nintendo understands that. They can hire the FBI to take down as many websites as they want, but Nintendo is going to lose to the internet. Always. That's just how it goes. But in any case, they warned against buying Nintendo Switch pre-owned games, and they've used it in their Nintendo Switch 2. This topic surfaced after one user was banned from Nintendo Online after downloading patches for a series of Switch 1 games that they'd bought from the Facebook Marketplace. This immediately sent ripples of concern throughout the entire Nintendo community, with users far and wide writhing about worry that their secondhand game cards would see them stripped of their Nintendo Online privileges. But there is in fact a simple solution. In a post on Reddit, a Nintendo user explained the following. They got banned and unbanned after simply downloading patches for 4 Switch 1 games that he bought from Facebook Marketplace. Fortunately, they advised that the solution for this problem was simple and took no time at all to resolve. If you get banned, go here and under talk to a human, select start chat. It's fast, painless, and you get a live person helping you. Now, I don't believe that this is going to be an immediate solution for everybody. I feel like there are going to be some people that are going to run into a very much more permanent problem. You know, the fact that the systems are not determining or understanding, you know, what's piracy and what may be secondhand, the fact that this is even possible and you could get your Nintendo Switch 2 banned without even a thought behind behind it, and you yourself have to go through the trouble of trying to get it unbanned when they're the ones they banned it falsely in the first place. This is an absolute mess, and it's a mess because the company has put in some of the most egregious and hardcore solutions into combating piracy that any company has ever done in the console space, or even in general. Nobody ever goes as hard to fight piracy like Nintendo is doing, to the point where innocent players are getting caught up in the process. This is literal collateral damage happening because Nintendo didn't fully think it through. They just wanted to go straight for the jugular. But in any case, they even had time to make a dig at Microsoft and Sony, suggesting that Nintendo's customer support solution is far more effective. So the person who is in this Reddit post, chances are is probably a Nintendo fanboy, let's be real, and they're trying to make it seem or downplay the situation and say, oh, it's not that big of a deal, right? It's not a big deal. I got unbanned the moment I got banned. It's not a big deal. Who cares, right? It's only a minor inconvenience. How many times is it going to happen though? You're not going to be absolved from potential future bans. What if you buy another pre-owned game on the marketplace, you get banned again? It's so annoying. It's something that you really shouldn't have to deal with, but of course, Nintendo doesn't care. This might seem like a worrying situation, but the explanation behind what happened makes complete sense. Nintendo has an anti-piracy solution that gives unique identifiers to each game cartridge, which acts as a preventative measure and blocks malicious operators from copying cards and selling them on. People will use a device like a MIG flash to copy cartridges before selling them on marketplaces as used, which means that unique identifier could be online twice at the same time as both the original owner and the new owner play the same game. So again, if you have a pirated version that has a flashed copy of a cartridge and someone else buys the actual real one and you both load it up at the same time, that's going to be a problem, right? Somebody is going to end up getting banned for not having, or for, I should say, for having a copied game. And I wonder if it's going to ban both Nintendo Switches or just the one who inserted the cartridge the second time, right? The first player who got to the system first with the first cartridge, I'm sure doesn't get banned. And then the second one who does it after the fact does get banned. I don't know. It's such a mess. This whole thing is a mess. We can expect this to become more of an issue thanks to the Nintendo Switch 2 backwards compatibility mechanics, but unfortunately, it looks like it's easy enough to resolve. I gotta wonder, if you were going to add backwards compatibility, how crazy must you have been to add this level of anti-piracy to Switch 1 capability game? Like, I don't understand. I really don't. I think Nintendo is going above and beyond in every way other than satisfying the customer. I feel like they have spent an ungodly amount of money, not just on their ninja lawyers, but also on the fact that they have been trying to fight piracy through and through with the Nintendo Switch 2. It seems like the entire slogan for Nintendo Switch 2 is anti-piracy. That is it. They've done everything they can to try to combat it. They don't care if it inconveniences you. They don't care if there's accidental bans. They want you buying their games new. They want you buying their accessories new. They want you in their own first-party ecosystem, and they don't want you to go anywhere else for literally anything, whether it's a used game, an accessory. They don't want it. So they don't care if you get inconvenienced by doing so, because they never wanted you there in the first place. That is simply how Nintendo is operating right now. So you guys can let me know in the comments down below, what do you think about this? Do you have a Switch 2? Are you playing Switch 1 games? Have you bought Switch 1 games pre-owned? Have you experienced this? Have you even not experienced this? You'd let me know, whatever that may be, in the comments down below. And thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, consider hitting that like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys on the next one.